Welcome to The Functional Esthetician, a podcast where skin health meets whole body wellness. I'm Samantha Dunch, a licensed esthetician, owner of Skin Deep Aesthetics, author, and a doctor of functional medicine. My mission is to help you see the bigger picture because healthy skin starts from within. In each episode, we'll explore the gut-skin axis, hormones, nutrition, skincare, and wellness tools you can use to transform your skin. Welcome to the Functional Esthetician Podcast. I'm your host, Samantha Dench. Today we're going to talk about insulin resistance. In our last two episodes, both our guests talked about insulin resistance from a nutritional and ingredient standpoint. Today we are diving deeper into this topic that really should be front and center for most women struggling to lose weight during perimenopause and menopause. Please enjoy. Most symptoms we blame on quote-unquote hormonal imbalances are actually signaling failures driven by insulin resistance. Insulin resistance can mimic hormonal fluctuations, and when you're in your 30s and 40s, we blame it on our hormones rather than looking at the root cause. I can't tell you how many women come to me saying that their doctor told them their labs are normal, but they feel terrible, they're tired, they can't sleep. They're gaining weight or struggling to lose weight. They're having hot flashes and irregular cycles. But the underlying cause can be insulin resistance, silently causing all of these symptoms. Now, there are two reasons why your labs come back normal. First, blood tests only measure a snapshot of your hormone levels at the time you get tested. Second, this test doesn't measure if your cells or body can actually hear the hormone signaling message. This means your body might not be metabolizing your hormones correctly. In other words, you can have an excess of hormones circulating, but your body's not utilizing them. And here's an interesting thing you should know about insulin. Insulin is a hormone too. Insulin is produced by the pancreas to allow your body to process sugar for our cells to be used for fuel. If you consume high amounts of sugar or carbs, you're under chronic stress, or you have inflammation from excess hormones or gut imbalances, this triggers your pancreas to release more insulin. The body then begins to signal your liver to store sugar as fat instead of releasing it into the bloodstream. And this is why women complain of gaining weight or struggling to lose weight, because the pancreas is working harder to release insulin to manage blood sugar levels. Here's what's happening. Excess insulin is being released. Your body's converting everything you eat into sugar, so your body's holding on to sugar for energy. This results in weight gain or the struggle to lose weight, brain fog, fatigue, and mood disorders. Often we blow these signals from our body or we blame it on perimenopause or menopause. Instead, our body is trying to get us to pay attention. Here are some signs that your body is insulin resistant. You feel shaky or lightheaded between meals. You crave sweets. You feel hangry, mood swings or irritability, brain fog and fatigue between meals. I want you to start paying attention to your body's signals and look for signs of insulin resistance. Now let's focus on weight gain or the struggle to lose weight. One of the biggest questions I get asked is, I'm not eating carbs or sugar, so why am I gaining weight? This right here is a sign your body is insulin resistant and converting everything you eat into sugar and storing it as fat. And this is where functional testing comes in hand because weight struggles are often not from your diet. There are other factors such as inflammation due to food sensitivities, parasites, gut dysbiosis, an imbalance of good versus bad bacteria, or mitochondrial dysfunction, which means your cells are not able to produce energy, and this can throw your entire body systems off. And this can be a quick fix, as simple as a gut cleanse, or you might be lacking a certain vitamin, mineral, or amino acid. When it comes to hormones, we believe we have low or high estrogen. But the fact is, your body might be recycling estrogen, especially if you're not going to the bathroom every day, or you're using household or beauty products that contain fragrance. You may even have PCOS, which causes an excess of estrogen that results in insulin resistance. Abdominal fat from PCOS, perimenopause, or insulin resistance releases inflammatory signals that promote insulin production. Your body thinks it's in a deficit of sugar, so it begins to store it. This goes with the next question I get asked often. I never had trouble losing weight in my 20s. Why is this so difficult in my 30s and 40s? I haven't changed anything. In last week's episode, our guest, Kelsey Ale, had a great explanation for this. She defined perimenopause as the second puberty because your body shifts from producing estrogen in the ovaries back to your adrenal glands. When hormones begin to shift during this stage of life, they expose underlying inflammation and metabolic strain that you were able to hide when you were in your 20s and early 30s. In all honesty, it was there all along. You were just able to hide it. And this slight shift in hormones means your body has had enough. And that's why these symptoms seem to pop up out of nowhere. Insulin resistance doesn't appear overnight. It shows up when your body loses its flexibility. And here's a little tip. Perimenopause doesn't cause the problem. It reveals it. And this brings me to my next point, the gut-skin hormone feedback loop. Insulin resistance causes gut issues, hormonal imbalances, and of course, we can't forget about the skin that is telling us there's a problem inside the body. And what I love about skin flare-ups is that our skin is telling us something isn't right before we even feel it in our body. You can thank your acne now if you're still young enough to have no other symptoms. The gut-skin axis, always there to remind us to look inside the body, not directly at your skin. Before we dig a little deeper into the skin, I want to talk about the gut first because all problems stem from your gut. Not to mention, insulin resistance causes gut issues by increasing inflammation and weakening your gut microbiome. And this is another cause of leaky gut. Your body may even develop food sensitivities, which is basically when your body is responding negatively to every food you eat. When I do testing, I don't like to start out with food sensitivity because a gut test will give me enough answers. And then we can start to heal the gut first. If you're still reacting or having problems with insulin resistance after doing a gut cleanse, then a food sensitivity can be beneficial. But typically, this is my last resort. And if healing your gut doesn't help, first we look for mitochondrial dysfunction to determine the health of your cells and see if they're functioning properly. So think of insulin resistance as the tiny snowball you start with to build your snowman. If your pancreas is on overdrive producing insulin, it's not able to properly digest your food, which means the food then goes into your intestines. Your intestines' job is to disperse the protein, fat, carbohydrates, vitamins, minerals, and amino acids into the body. If too much food gets in the intestines or you have leaky gut, this is where digestive problems begin. When the gut has to digest food instead of processing and utilizing it, this creates gas and bloating. And it can set the stage for leaky gut because those hard-to-digest foods, along with glyphosate, break down the gut lining and cause food to seep into our body, creating inflammation. Then you add in unstable blood sugar, and this creates more inflammation that leads to the weakening of your gut lining. This allows endotoxins to leak into your circulation, and this is why many people can treat the gut symptoms without seeing resolution because the metabolic piece hasn't been addressed. All systems of your body are connected. So if one system is out of balance, the rest of your body systems will eventually follow. And how does all this relate to the skin? I am here to drive home the fact that our skin and gut are connected. Your skin is not separate from your gut, your hormones, or your metabolism. This is the first place any imbalance shows. The cool thing about your skin is that it shows you there's an internal problem before you even get sick. So if you pay attention to your skin and begin to work to heal your skin from the inside out, you can either prevent or minimize future symptoms from popping up. And I'm not just talking about acne. This can be any inflammatory skin condition, such as eczema, rosacea, psoriasis, or even sensitive skin. It can even show up as dull-looking skin, dark spots or melasma, and premature wrinkles. Insulin resistance accelerates glycation, which we've talked about in previous episodes. Glycation breaks down our amino acids, which are the building blocks for our cells. Glycation speeds up the aging process, and this is why you see premature wrinkles. Insulin resistance increases inflammatory signaling to our skin's receptors, and this can affect oil production, collagen, and pigmentation. I remember my grandma would call the dark spots on her body liver spots, and I used to laugh, but she wasn't wrong. We believe our dark spots are from sun damage, and yes, the sun can cause dark spots. However, the majority of our dark spots are because our body's detoxification pathways are blocked. And this is why dark spots, acne, accelerated aging, and rosacea often pop up together or show up in the same area on the skin. Or your skin might struggle to heal from those flare-ups. There is no topical skincare serum that can fix this. You must address your internal concerns. And the best part is your skin is giving you the answer. It's up to you to pay attention, test, and work to heal from the inside out. Healing insulin resistance requires supporting the body, not punishing it. You are not doing anything wrong. You were not given the right information. My hope with today's episode is that you have a better understanding of what's going on in your body and what changes you can make to help yourself heal. Now, before we get into healing, I want to address another frequently asked question. Why do diets, exercise, and fasting stop working? I have said this earlier in today's episode, but insulin resistance means your body is converting everything you eat into sugar and storing it as fat. And this is why weight gain or the struggle to lose weight is such an issue for women. Dieting, exercising, and fasting may even make you feel worse. And here's why. When your body is producing glucose, it stores it in your liver, fat tissue, and muscles. When you exercise, muscles release sugar into the body. The body converts the sugar into a substance called ATP, which is how your cells get their energy. This process happens in the mitochondria. However, excess sugar in the body affects your mitochondria, so it can't properly convert that sugar into energy. And now you feel worse after exercising because your body has excess sugar circulating and no way for your body to process or release it. And this also is a reason why you can exercise like crazy and not lose weight. Another thing that happens is when you restrict your diet or fast, your body releases sugar from the liver, muscles, and blood. This can create fatigue, mood swings, and headaches as your body works to process the excess sugar. Now, it can take time for your body to rebalance, especially with diet changes. The good news is when you make the right diet changes, your gut microbiome adjusts and can improve in only 10 days. Now, I've talked a lot about the negative effects of insulin resistance, so I want to shift gears and get to the fun part, how to help you manage your symptoms and work to balance your body. As a functional medicine practitioner, I have to say, lifestyle changes are key. First, start with your diet. Eliminate all carbs and sugar, period. This is a hard one for many women because we feel like we need carbs to give us energy. But that's where insulin resistance happens. That energy is your body converting carbs into sugar to fuel you through the day. And adding caffeine is not the solution either because that can cause cortisol problems. Here's a simple diet change I tell all my clients to start with. Increase your protein intake. And when I say increase protein, this does not mean going to Starbucks and adding protein into your sugary coffee. I mean animal protein, specifically fatty red meat. And that's not just because I'm a carnivore. The paleo and keto diets are also heavy on meat, fat, and high protein to fat ratios. Fat is fuel. Your body burns fat by converting the sugar to fuel so you can reduce insulin resistance. And when I say fat, I don't mean fast food or processed foods. Fat comes from 100% grass-fed butter. I actually cook with butter and add it to everything I eat. Beef tallow or ghee is another great option to cook with. Personally, I don't do vegetables because my body doesn't tolerate them. I used to eat a lot of them and was always gassy and bloating, so eating protein and fat improved my digestion. And if you're worried about not going to the bathroom, that's why we eat fat from butter. Next, add in exercise. And I'm not talking about crazy HIIT workouts, running marathons, or CrossFit. While these workouts work for many people, light movement is my preferred method. Any exercise is movement, and it can be as simple as walking or stretching for 15 minutes a day. Even light exercise increases your heart rate. You are also regulating your nervous system to decrease cortisol levels, insulin resistance, and regulate your hormones. 15 minutes of light yoga stretching a day is all your body needs to improve. I recommend starting an exercise, diet, or fasting plan with a functional medicine doctor, functional nutritionist, personal trainer, or coach. There is so much information out there. It could be overwhelming or steer you in the wrong direction. Everyone is an individual, and what works for one person may not work for you. And this is why social media can be disempowering. Many women don't even know where to start, so they don't do anything. Here's a tip. If you're starting out on a diet, exercise, or nutrition plan, and you feel terrible after a few weeks, that is a sign your body isn't responding well. Now you need to shift and try something different until you start to feel better. And if you want to get started without the guesswork, I dropped a link to my website in the show notes. You can schedule a functional consultation so we can talk about what would be best for you and create a plan to support your healing. Remember, getting started is the hardest part, especially when you're overwhelmed by the excess of information on social media. But once you start and begin to feel better, that is a great motivator for you to keep going. I'd like to end today's episode with one small step you can start taking today. Pick one thing from the list that you can incorporate into your daily routine, whether it's exercise or eating. Make sure it's something you can be consistent with in whatever item you pick, because consistency is key. And this can be as simple as adding a vegetable instead of eating a carb, drinking an extra glass of water every day, cutting out sugar, or doing 10 minutes of yoga stretching at home or a walk around the block. And once you start to feel better, you will want to keep going. And don't forget, I am here to guide you on your journey to better health. Thank you for listening. Today we talked about insulin resistance and how it shows up in your body and skin, how it affects every system of your body, especially in your gut. Lastly, we talked about tips for switching your lifestyle to reduce weight gain so you start to feel better. Please check the show notes to book your functional medicine consultation or connect with me on Instagram. Make sure to tune in next Tuesday to episode 17. Next week, we are back with another great interview talking about how to regulate your nervous system through breathwork. If you've been dealing with stress or want to learn better ways to manage your stress, this is an episode you don't want to miss. And always remember, you deserve to love the skin you're in. As estheticians, we have such a unique opportunity to not only care for the skin on the surface, but to guide our clients towards deeper wellness. If this episode gave you something to think about, share it with me on Instagram @SkinDeepIL. I look forward to connecting with you there. And if you enjoyed this conversation, subscribing and reviewing the podcast helps others find these conversations too. And always remember, you deserve to love the skin you're in.